This is Hammett.
And Jessica.
And you're listening to the Friendly Atheist Podcast. If you like what you're listening to, please go to patreon.com/friendlyatheist podcast. $5 a month. You get ad-free episodes. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Where do you want to start today? We got everything from purity culture to satanic, erotica. I don't know. I got everything today for you.
Okay, it's beautiful outside, so let's start with a good story.
Oh God, I don't have good stories. I just have all the other types. Oh, I should say, we do have a relatively new Discord server for anyone who is interested in that sort of thing. And if that is you, the link is in the show notes if you're interested.
I popped on a couple days ago, and they made not reaction gifs, but like you can like it with our face now is a thing that they did. So our faces are just floating around there,
That's not creepy at all.
No, fine and regular.
I approve.
I popped in a few times, and everybody's been cool and nice.
Let's start with this story because I think this one to me would generate the most interest. It touches on so many different things.
Okay.
A few days ago, this woman on TikTok, who I think just goes by Mia or Gia, one or the other, but like random person who only has 2 TikToks and they're all of the same incident, just 2 parts to it.
Okay.
So it's like, all right, I don't know anything about you. I just know you posted this and already there's like 1 million views on each video. So people saw this and they are intrigued, right? And basically what happened is this woman and her friend are at a beach in Fort Collins, Colorado, doing whatever you do at a public beach. It looked like, because you could see their legs in the video, so they're either getting a tan or whatever.
It's laying out.
Yeah. And the next thing you see is a guy comes up to them, big guy, wearing like whatever top guy wears on a beach, and basically starts...
I have a word picture in my head. You're describing this so well. A man with a top.
It's like a sleeveless tee.
A tank top?
Is it a tank top for guys? Sure.
Yeah, it's a tank top for guys.
It's not something I wear. So he comes up to them and basically he condemns them for wearing revealing swimsuits at the beach out of nowhere. He's just like, you need to hear from me about this. I'll read you some of what he said.
Can you give me an age range on this gentleman?
Let's say 30s.
Oh, okay. I was imagining like a man in his 60s. No, men in their 60s don't wear tank tops.
No, like, I lied. I don't have the exact thing, but his whole transcript of what he's saying is basically God doesn't want you to wear this kind of revealing clothing.
Oh, he doesn't.
Because you are causing the men around here to stumble. This is my wording. This is not his wording, but it is the same gist.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're causing people to sin. You should think about that, ladies, because I got a couple kids here. He actually has 4 kids. He's like, I got 2 boys here, and like, we don't want them to see anything. And like, what are you doing to men like me? And to their credit, these women just blow him off, and they're like, you've got to be shitting me. And they're also pointing out, you could see they're on their phone looking for the right Bible verses to throw back at him. Because there is a Bible verse that says, like, if your right eye causes you to sin, gouge it out,
yeah.
which they mentioned to him. By the way, the guy has tattoos, which is also forbidden in at least one verse.
What does the Bible say about tank tops?
It's absolutely forbidden. That is one of the commandments.
Yeah, it sounds like he gave them a lot of words for, I have a boner and I'm embarrassed about it.
Yeah, someone on, I don't know if it was TikTok or somewhere else, someone said, dude, your wife caught you staring at them and this is how you respond. Just admit it.
That's exactly what happened. Why are you looking at them? Nothing. It just makes me so mad.
I'm so mad about what they're wearing.
I'm so mad. I'm going to go over there and talk to them about it and bring my number just in case.
I think the most offensive part about the exchange, because again, we now have like a 4-minute video in 2 parts where this guy is just basically telling them.
Talking at them.
Yeah, talking at them. That's the right way to put it. Is that he said, like, you need to value yourself better.
Oh, fuck off. Yeah. Oh, God,
yeah,
you don't value
You don't value yourselves because you're wearing something revealing, which is the whole purity culture mentality run amok right there. And by the way, it's meaningless too, since you could easily see this guy saying the same damn stuff to a woman wearing a one-piece swimsuit, which, by the way, he recommended to them.
Oh,
like,
a
that would be
one-piece.
one way to do this.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Could you tell me other kinds of swimsuit options I have?
This is the sort of guy, you hear what he's saying, and you're like, you would say this to a woman wearing a burqa, too. Like, it's not about that this is too revealing for you. It's that you don't like women who are confident in their bodies.
Yeah, I would really like it if they wore like a nice Edwardian era bathing costume.
Corset with like 4 layers.
Horizontal stripes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I was like, who is this guy? The tank top he is wearing does not have anything revealing about like my church or anything. It's some random like Adventureland, whatever.
Yeah.
But you don't have to scroll far to find the guy's name.
How?
Some internet sleuthing. Yeah, it's not that hard, I guess. But people identify the guy. I'll say his name because he admitted it later on. His name is Logan Dorn.
I want to see him. Do you have his picture up?
You could come around this way. You could see this guy yelling at the women. What? You go ahead and describe his demeanor.
Oh, okay. All right. So you did a terrible job of describing this gentleman.
He's wearing a tank top and he's a backwards hat wearing dude.
Okay, so
Yes, get back to the mic.
I'm back over here. So he kind of looks, okay, I'm going to paint you a word picture. Looks like a guy who like probably played football in high school and still clings to that.
Tell me his whole life story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he tried to go to college. It didn't work out for him, which is okay. College isn't for everybody. And he's been working an okay job, and he's settled with these 3 kids. But
he didn't want to be a walk-on on the team. He didn't make it as a walk-on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, he's got like a dude bro beard. Like he's like a late stage gym hipster. So he's got like a backwards hat, a bushy beard. And it's like he bought the sleeveless shirt. He didn't rip the sleeves off of a t-shirt, which feels like important information. He looks like
you got the
cool
vibe.
Youth pastor.
I'm sure.
But like a cool youth pastor with an earring probably.
So I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, since this video is going viral, do you want to defend anything you're saying? He did not respond to me. You will be surprised to say. But he did post some stuff on Facebook.
You mean he doesn't want to talk to a random stranger about something
I
that's
identified
none of his
myself,
business?
damn it. And also, I'm not a stranger anymore. Now he's the guy on the internet. I'm a guy who says, hello, I saw this video with you in it. I know it's you.
Yes, but
Come
I was
talk to
doing
me.
a bit about how he went to... Hey, Daddy,
No one knows. No one knows who I am. It's all good. But he should have responded anyway. I'll keep talking. Forget Dottie. So he posts something on Facebook the night this goes viral or really starts going viral. Let me read this to you because he basically posted on Facebook a memory from like a year ago, which seemed appropriate. And here's what he wrote a year ago that he's now like re-Facebooking, retweeting, whatever. To my fellow sisters, you are not an object. You are God's daughter. Don't give in to culture telling you that in order for you to be loved or accepted, you have to take your clothes off, expose yourself. You are loved for who you are, not your body. And he retweets that, and he says, your worth is found in the Father's eyes. Your body could never satisfy. There's a deeper longing in your... Okay. I don't need to go on. You get the idea.
I don't like...
You know who this guy is.
I don't like AABBCC poems from men in their mid-40s who've never written a poem before.
So then it gets better for us. It gets better for us because he goes on TikTok himself.
Oh.
And
what was his name again?
He said Logan Dorn.
Logan.
And the caption on TikTok is my side of the story about a video going viral about me.
All I did... Wait. Can I
The
hazard
truth will
a guess?
set you free.
Can I hazard a guess at what he says?
Yes.
I think he is going to say, so I was there with my family, with my beautiful kids, and I have these... You said he had 2 sons. I have 2 sons. And I'm just thinking a lot about how I want to raise them to be men. And then I look and I catch them looking at something. And I look over and there are these 2 scantily clad women. And I saw that my sons were interested in that. And it just made me sad because oh God, I don't know, maybe something, those women are unbeknownst leading my sons off the path.
Yeah. His kids, by the way, are
centered on his
like...
kids?
6, no, it's not. But his kids are 9 and 6. They're not having those feelings all over the place. I promise
they are not.
you.
Okay, I assumed it was like a 12-year-old.
Yeah, no. Let me tell you some of what he said. Feel free to chime in whenever here. You know, I just wanted to get on here and share my side of the story of a video that's going viral about me that's saying I'm harassing women or berating them or, things of that nature.
Sure.
So whatever. He says he's with his family at this reservoir on a lake. He has 4 kids from a 9-year-old boy down to a 2-year-old girl. And then he says there's some college-age... I'm sorry. I'm quoting him. We come off the water from paddleboarding, and someone in my family said, hey, we've got to move. There's some college-age women here that are showing too much, and I don't want my son or my daughters to see these things. And so right then and there, I had had a righteous anger come over me.
At the women for existing.
And also just a boldness by the Holy Spirit to go in to confront these ladies and to speak truth.
The boldness you're feeling is a result of living as a white man in America for 40 years, sir. Do not confuse that with God.
Righteous anger. Righteous. It's okay if you're angry if it's righteous.
I'm curious what his wife was wearing.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know if she was in that first video from the women. He goes on to say, the reason being that he has this righteous anger, the reason being is because coming from being introduced to pornography at a young age, it destroyed me. It destroyed me. Here's what I was trying to figure out. What
the fuck?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this guy does not really suffer from porn addiction.
No.
Or how did it destroy you? I will grant that you probably saw it at a young age. That happens.
Yeah.
What do you think? 2 questions for you. What do you think he meant by a young age? What do you think he meant by it destroyed me? A third question, what do you think he meant by pornography? Because I don't think our definitions of any of these things are going to be the same.
Oh, well, that's an interesting question.
So again, what he said was coming from being introduced to pornography at a young age, it destroyed me. And now he doesn't want to see that happen.
So just in the sense of covering our ass, there is a chance that some weird adult in this guy's life brought in 6-year-old him into a room and made him watch porn with him.
Sure.
Maybe he was actually sexual abuse.
Maybe.
However, what I am more likely to guess is that, I don't know, he saw a weird clip of that Madonna and Billy Baldwin movie when they have sex on the train. I think it's the two of them. Mike can hear me. He'll yell down the answer.
So he probably saw PG-13 rated, lovemaking of sorts in a movie.
Don't get it twisted. The 80s were pretty grody for full on weird sex shit and their erotic thrillers that they loved so much in the 90s, but in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, no, I bet he watched something like that. And then got caught masturbating by his mom, had to go talk to his priest about it, and was deeply ashamed and embarrassed, which is the result of when you shame and embarrass a kid for natural sexual urges.
The fact that he sees 2 women in swimsuits at the beach, and he's like, oh no, my childhood trauma of reading a Cosmo.
Right.
And seeing a sex quiz when I was 12. That's what he counts as, this is pornographic what you're wearing. They're wearing a swimsuit. Yeah. It's fine.
It's funny. And obviously I don't
These are the same type of purity culture people, though, who think you need to wait to kiss your loved one on your wedding day.
So I think this story is dumb and stupid and funny, and ultimately at least nobody was super hurt.
Oh no, we're gonna keep going.
There's more?
Oh, there's more.
Oh, okay. But can I say from where my vantage point in this particular story, all I am hearing is men see women as inherently sexual objects and not as human beings in their own right who might want to wear a bathing suit because it's cute and trendy and they want to go swimming, and that's how bathing suits look. And
definitely what 90% of the comments were like. Yep.
Yeah. As a woman, I'm allowed to exist in the world with somebody accusing me of magnetically pulling them from their righteous path. It's so... like, it's so immature. It's so immature. Like, oh, I look at you and I get a funny feeling in my swimsuit area. So the problem is with you.
The problem is with you. Yeah, that's all it is. It's always with them. Obviously, everyone's commenting like, dude, if you can't handle two women in bikinis at the beach, just move. It's a public beach and they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, they're not at
They
your
weren't
home.
breaking any laws. They weren't doing anything that any one of you wouldn't expect to see at a beach.
Right.
He goes on in that same video. This is like the night this goes viral, mind you.
How did I miss this whole thing?
Oh, it's so fun. Just to clear
Depression's a hell of a thing. You miss entire story trends.
You got to be on the Twitter.
Yep.
Just to clear everything up, I am not gonna apologize.
Oh, no, sir.
Did you...
No, you did not need to clear that up. That is abundantly
Fully
clear.
assumed that one, yeah. I am going to continue to stand on the word of God. Our society is on such a downcline of morality.
Downcline, he
Downcline
said. You hate
of
to
morality.
see a downcline of morality.
Pornography and lust is at an all-time high.
Can the title of this episode just be The Downcline of Morality? Because actually, no, that's going to be my band name. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Keep
Make it the
to
title. Make it the title.
Downcline.
The Downcline of Morality.
Uh-huh.
Great
Pornography
handwriting.
and lust is at an all-time high. People, don't even know their gender anymore. People don't even know, like, they can go from, if they're born a male, they can be a female. If they're born a female, they can be a male. I don't know where the transphobic stuff came from. He just decided to throw it in there.
Well, no. It's because
Just for the hell of it.
The conservatives have two jokes, and they're both about trans people. One is I identify as X.
Blank.
Usually it's an attack helicopter. The favorite of that brand right now is, what if I identify as vaccinated? Because, they love that. Ooh, they think they're so clever, turning it around. And the other is...
Stop stealing Ben Shapiro's material.
Right, exactly. And the other one is boomers doing their favorite hobby, which is temporarily forgetting that Dottie just fully fell up the stairs. She's an idiot. Where they temporarily forget that boomers did not actually fight in World War II. And so they're like, when I was a kid, this is what an 18-year-old looked like. And it's like a soldier from World War II. And like these days, kids don't even know their gender, which is like, yeah, in the good old days, we sent off 17-year-old boys to war. Good job, world. That's much better than letting somebody explore their personal style. Or personal gender,
Just to summarize everything wrong with his video as quickly as I can, he doesn't apologize.
Obviously.
He doesn't acknowledge the hypocrisy of sinning with his eyes. He doesn't acknowledge the hypocrisy of having tattoos. He doesn't acknowledge that it's really freaking creepy for a random dude to lecture two women on a public beach because he doesn't like what they're wearing. He doesn't explain why his family didn't just walk away from a public beach if they didn't like what certain people were wearing. He doesn't tell people that the women weren't breaking any rules. They were just minding their own damn business. He doesn't acknowledge that they were not necessarily seeking attention. They could have just been there, getting a tan, having a good time with their friends.
And even if they were seeking attention, you do not have to give that to them.
Yeah, he doesn't acknowledge that these women are anything more than their bodies. Like, he assumes they only get self-worth from going to a beach wearing, like, a two-piece swimsuit, and that's the only thing they have going for them. He has no idea anything about them. He doesn't acknowledge that his own kids are safer, probably, like being at a beach surrounded by other people than at home with this guy giving them information.
Or at their church with the pastor.
He doesn't acknowledge that women in two-piece swimsuits, no matter how revealing you think they are, is not pornography. Doesn't consider that these women are Christian themselves. I don't think they are, but that's not even a possibility in his mind. And he assumes that they know nothing about the Bible because he's preaching it at them when clearly they do know some relevant verses. And then he just tosses in the anti-trans stuff because he's Christian and he wants you to know it. And righteous anger is not I don't care. If you're angry in public, you probably have issues. Yeah. Saying it's a righteous anger or it comes from a place of Jesus or whatever, that doesn't make it better. You're a dude with an anger problem in public who's using Christianity to justify your bad behavior.
Yeah, maybe the righteous anger would get him knocked down from, like, murder 1 to murder 2 if he killed somebody over it, but it's definitely not going to be like, oh, you're righteously angry. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine, sir.
Sometimes people will be like, well, if I made everyone angry at me, it must be because I'm doing something right.
Oh my
and
God.
those people never acknowledge that it could just be because everyone knows you're wrong.
Oh, I mean, that's like the centrist thing of like, if both sides are mad at me.
That is exactly it.
Yep.
Andrew Yang, I'm forming a third party. Like, it's not because both parties are bad. It's because you're just egocentric and you want to see Republicans win.
Honestly,
you and Tulsi Gabbard and whoever, Bloomberg? I don't know.
Honestly, the push alert I got when Yang dropped out of the New York mayoral race, I was in a grocery store and laughed, loudly laughed.
After trying to convince Democrats he's their guy and then failing to do that because he doesn't know any of the things he's talking about, much less have progressive views on anything, he's like, I've solved the problem. I'm just going to form my own party, which is good because you're probably talking about like the Peter Boghossian types who are the anti-woke people who like Yang. It's like, good, take them. We're fine. By the way, I didn't get to the end of this story. Logan Dorn, our friend here, worked for a construction site. He's not a youth pastor, as far as I know. He works a regular secular type of job. Mighty Hand Construction. And that company released a message yesterday saying, I'm going to read you their lovely Facebook post. Today, information was brought to our attention that one of our employees, Logan Dorn, was accused of harassing a group of individuals over the weekend in northern Colorado. We began an investigation this morning, which has resulted in the immediate termination of Mr. Dorn.
No.
Mighty Hand Construction does not condone Logan's behavior in the videos, nor do his actions reflect our values as a company. Mighty Hand strives to be a place of business where all are treated with utmost respect and acceptance, and actions by our employees which go against those values will not be tolerated.
Boy, oh boy, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. What do you? I mean, it's very plays stupid games, win stupid prizes, but also like, I don't know if that was determinable.
Well, I don't know. You know what? If the company says you've made us look bad and everyone's connecting your behavior with us.
Sure.
And I don't know if Colorado's one of those like states where you could just get rid of someone for no reason and whatever. Don't be mad. That's how the game works. And for what it's worth, if you look at Logan Dorn's social media after the fact, he doesn't seem to be complaining about this. He seems to be very much yep, I am a Christian martyr. I did what's right. Give me your speaking engagements, churches.
They did nudge him into martyrdom territory, which is, yes, you're exactly right. He's gonna do the Northern Colorado Christian circuit.
Which is a very lucrative circuit. It's okay.
I mean, very, very, very rich people live in Northern Colorado, if I remember correct.
Colorado Springs, full of churches. He's in good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this Spanish bishop, because this is amazing. A few weeks ago, a bishop in Spain, I'm going to screw up his name, but it's Xavier Novel Goma, he said he was resigning from the Catholic Church.
Okay.
And about 11 years ago, when he was made a bishop, it was a big deal because he was only 41, which is super young for a Catholic bishop. Mm-hmm. That's a high-ranking position. He was the youngest bishop in Spain at the time. A lot of attention on this guy because you're the future of the church, right? He's 52 today. He's still one of the youngest bishops in Spain. And also, he's been very outspoken for Catalan independence, which is a controversial...
Is it?
Is it?
Oh, maybe.
I'm not. Wrong. Don't take my word on that.
No,
don't quote
also,
me. Do
I
not take this out of context.
Why would I correct you?
I'm talking to the listeners.
No, I know, but why would I correct you as if I know fucking anything? I could have let you take that heat.
That's let me take the heat on that. So he's been politically outspoken in issues that are of importance in Spain. So he's controversial.
Catalonian? No,
not
stop.
even
Shut
close.
up, Jessica.
So he resigned this week, and it's a couple weeks ago, and it's like, oh wow, one of the youngest bishops in Spain is resigning.
And we're expecting him to be a feature in Catholicism for years.
Yeah, and what does that say about the church if it can't even keep its most devout people in the fold? Was it an issue with the church? Was it something else? And They didn't say. And they didn't say if he was pushed out because of his political activism. Was it a scandal? Was it a lawsuit? No one really knew. When the Vatican, because they have to approve it when you're a bishop, when the Vatican made the announcement that he was resigning, they just said he was resigning, quote, for strictly personal reasons, which could be anything.
Right.
So now we know the reason.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the reason, I'm going to quote from a publication. Sorry, I forgot which publication this is. Oh, I'm sorry. Sources quoted by the Catholic publication Religion Digital. I don't know if that's reliable this week, but this has been confirmed by other people. Confirmed rumors that Bishop Novell had embarked on a relationship with Sylvia Caballol.
I was really hoping it would be a man.
It's a woman, a psychologist, and a writer of erotic novels, leading him to set aside his vow of celibacy.
Oh my God.
He wants to have sex. That's the answer.
He met a woman with a romance novel.
He met a woman.
This is my dream.
The comments are saying, "Tell me the Lifetime movie. I want to watch it."
Oh my God!
It's
No,
there.
not a Lifetime movie. We need an erotic novel about this. Lifetime movie is they're gonna kiss and it's gonna fade to darkness.
True. Let me add, he said he had fallen in love and wanted to do the right thing, according to reports, in reference to the relationship with the 38-year-old author of The Hell of Gabriel's Lust and the erotic trilogy Amnesia. By the way, Satan plays a role in many of her novels. So she's an erotic, satanic thriller novelist.
My little romance, my love of romance novels is just... I feel so warm and fuzzy right now. I'm so... Can you just read the name of the first book that she wrote?
The Hell of Gabriel's Lust.
I'm reading it immediately after I finish
You're not gonna like
romance novel that I'm reading.
You won't like the ending of this story. But, so...
Oh, no.
I mean, good on him for saying, I met a woman, I fell in love, my options are being a hypocrite and carrying on this relationship because the church says... priests, bishops, hierarchy people, you gotta be single, no sex, forever. That's part of the rules. And he said, but I met the Satanic. I don't know if he read her book and then fell in love or vice versa.
Oh,
but
boy.
He met her. He's like, I fell in love. I want to have a family with her. I want to do the sex. And now I'm leaving. That's the right move if you're that guy. By the way, remember on Fox News years ago, there was one of their priests, Jonathan Morris. He showed up all the time wearing his priestly garb and the collar, and he was their conservative voice on all things religious oriented. He did the same thing. He said, I'm not going to be a priest anymore because I met someone, I fell in love, want to have sex, want to start a family. And he did. And then for a little while, they still brought him on to do some segments where he wore a suit and tie. And it just, no, that's not your costume. Put it back on.
You should have tried to get into a little more organic. Start with a bow tie. So it's still
a white bow tie.
Yeah. And just try to, maybe nobody will notice.
But good on them because there are priests, there are articles about this, priests who definitely have relationships on the side.
Oh, yeah.
Who have families on the side, who have kids who are like, who's daddy? And they're like, you cannot know who your daddy is.
Here's Uncle Father Joseph.
Yeah. So good. He's not a hypocrite there. Good on him. And that's why, of course, it would have been a story alone if a young priest decided, you know what, this celibacy rule is stupid. If you're making me choose, I'm choosing her. Good. That's a good story. And the fact that she's a satanic thriller, erotica novelist.
Beautiful.
Yes, chef's kiss right
Gorgeous.
there. I will say,
couldn't have written it better myself.
Church colleagues told Spanish media they believed the bishop had been possessed by demons.
Of course.
With one saying this was, quote, not a problem of celibacy, but rather of infestation. How broken.
That's one of the guys that has a family on the side. He's like, being celibate is super easy. Anyway, here's this kid who kind of looks like me. I don't know why.
Imagine how broken your brain has to be for a priest to say, I've fallen in love, and you're like, Satan.
Oh, my God.
Someone told a reporter that Pope Francis had recommended an exorcism for this guy. I don't quite believe that. One, because it's an anonymous source. Yeah. But two, that seems out of character for this particular pope.
And I don't think exorcisms go up to the Pope. Well, if it's within the ranks.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Here's where I think I'm going to lose you.
Oh.
Before everyone starts treating this guy as a hero and a romantic love interest or whatever, this is a guy who conducted exorcisms for many years, which, whatever, he's a Catholic
Comes to
priest. He also
territory.
promoted gay conversion torture for a long time.
Cool.
Like, he's not the hero.
Listen, Hammett, if somebody is a Catholic priest, I assume he is an amoralistic asshole, but this is still a very good story, and can you, like, let me have one nice thing for fucking once, Hammett?
You can have that for a little bit.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's a thing that's happening. Here's my question that I would like to know the answer to, and I don't know the answer to yet.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, he's walking away from the celibacy and the singleness. He's just saying no to the Catholic priesthood. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be a bishop anymore. He's resigning. Fine. What I don't know is this guy still going to be a Catholic? Is he still going to cling to everything else that the church hierarchy believes when it comes to sex and gender and all that stuff? I don't know the answer to that. I'm kind of curious how far he strays from that.
My thought would be that if he respected the Catholic Church enough to say, I want to have a relationship with this person, so I'm leaving the church, as opposed to, like, fuck the church, I'm just going to have mine on the side and, like, keep doing the thing. To me, that what he did speaks to more respect of the church than somebody who just gets him on the side. Does that make sense? So to me, that signals that he'll likely, like, remain a member of the church. Hey, Mikey, what was that sexy movie with Billy Baldwin when they have sex on the train?
Don't ever say sexy movie with Billy Baldwin.
Yeah, wasn't Billy Baldwin a sexy erotic thriller in, like, 1990?
We're getting...
You can keep going.
I will keep going while you figure this out.
Sliver of Sharon Stone, that's what I was thinking of.
That sounds horrible.
Tom Cruise and Rebecca Morning, Risky Business.
No.
No, not that kind of train. He was thinking of
All
Risky
right,
Business.
We're going to this story. There is a lawmaker in Kansas. His name is Michael Capps. He was elected in 2018. He was a Republican in the Kansas State House. And, like, when you're a Republican legislator from Kansas, there are certain things you just do. Like, you got to sponsor the anti-trans bill. You got to sponsor anti-abortion bills, and this guy did.
It's like how Miss America has to go around like, okay, you're going to have to open this grocery store. You're
Right.
going to have to do that. Like, it's the same thing with...
Republican House members in Kansas, you got to pass, or you got to at least sponsor really bad legislation.
Right.
This guy sponsored a bill last year to put "In God We Trust" in every government building, including public schools. And he defended it, by the way, because you have to offer written testimony as to, like, why do you want this bill?
Uh-huh.
At the very end of this long letter saying, it's just the motto, you guys. It's not religious. He says, he cites former President John Adams, "Statesmen may plan and speculate for liberty, but it is religion and morality alone which can establish the principles upon which freedom can securely stand." So religion and morality have to go together. You need it for democracy, whatever.
And thank you for clarifying that it's former President John Adams.
Sorry,
as
not
opposed to
current President
John.
corpse John Adams. So that bill...
Oh, you mean the second president of the United States, that former president? Have we moved on since then?
That bill died in committee, but the point is he sponsored this bill. He thought it was a good idea.
Sure.
And his whole, if you watch one of his campaign ads from 2020, where he's running for re-election, he actually lost re-election to another Republican. But the point is, like,
he got primaried?
I think he got primaried, or at least just lost to another Republican, if not primaried. But his campaign ad opened with the lines, we've brought God back into our schools, which, one, you didn't, but two, like, that's how he's opening his campaign announcement. So, like, the point is, very conservative Christian, wants you to know, like, my resume shows I'm a good conservative Christian. So why is this fellow, who is no longer in the legislature because he got defeated, why is he in the news this week? Because this week, a federal grand jury charged him with COVID relief fraud and money laundering. Let me read from the article. An indictment filed by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Kansas says Capps bilked federal, state, and local agencies for more than $450,000 in COVID-19 business recovery funds. Basically saying, I got all these employees and we can't work because of COVID. Hey, government, give me money, because they were doing that. And they gave it to him because that's what they were doing at the time. But then they go back and check and they're like, you don't have employees that many.
Wait a second.
They said Capps inflated his payroll and applied for loans loans to pay employees who don't exist, according to the indictment. The federal indictment says Capps laundered hundreds of thousands of dollars in COVID relief funding through his businesses and charity between May and August of 2020. Why did he do it? I don't know. He thought he could get away with it, whatever. But maybe it's because he didn't see In God We Trust on all the walls because his bill didn't pass. Who knows?
I wonder how his views on felons voting after they get out of jail is going to change in the next year.
He now could spend decades in jail.
Yeah.
He could pay millions of dollars in fines if he is convicted. He's only been charged, but if he gets convicted of this... But I was reading the Wichita Eagle wrote about this guy because when you're a lawmaker, you have a history. And I want to read some of like this guy's history because like I thought, look at this Christian hypocrite. This is the first awful thing he's done and what a hypocrite. No, it's so not.
Of course.
The one-term Republican lawmaker served as District 85 state representative, blah, blah, blah. He was defeated in the Republican primary amid allegations, this is talking about Capps, that he had offered a black lawmaker campaign cash in exchange for a photo op. He donated money to Planned Parenthood in his Republican opponent's name. That same election, thinking that's how I'm going to screw over this other Republican. I'm going to send a check to Planned Parenthood, put his name on it.
That was like a full-on Maleficent laugh. That, just the layers of it coming, like washing over me.
Yeah.
He donated to Planned Parenthood in his Republican opponent's name.
Thinking he could then pin it on, look, this guy's not anti-abortion. When
this is what we call a no-lose situation.
Yes, Republicans everywhere, please start a fundraiser in your opponent's honor.
Oh, sorry, Daddy.
It's great. That same election cycle, this is from the article, the Kansas Department for Children and Families found that he emotionally abused boys as a court-appointed volunteer.
No, what'll he do?
I don't know what he did. I didn't read that far, but the findings were then reversed on a technicality, so like they couldn't hold it against him.
Technically correct. The best kind of correct.
Yeah. So basically, there was also allegations he didn't actually live in the district. There was a dark money scheme. He made a video in which basically he was bragging about how he falsely accused a Democratic lawmaker of sexual harassment, thinking, I will get my Democratic opponent this way.
Jesus
like, he's just
Christ.
bad at life.
Honestly, though, can I do a soft pitch for a Breaking Bad-like show? Okay, it's like Breaking Bad meets House of Cards minus Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
But, like, it takes place in this guy's district, and it's just like a small town where it's not Wichita. It's, like, outside Wichita, right?
I don't know District 85.
You don't? Off the top of your head? That's so weird.
I know.
But you know what I mean? Like, just focus on the politics of like a small Kansas town life. I bet that's already a show somewhere. But anyway,
I think somewhere in there is a Spanish priest. Yeah. You got to work in all the concepts here.
Yeah, I'll be. You do you still have your contact with your publisher from when you wrote a book in 2006 or whatever?
Not at all. By the way, we mentioned a couple weeks ago that American Atheist recently hired a guy named Brett Parker to be their state policy manager. And Parker was a Kansas state lawmaker. So spoke with him, and I'm like, do you know this guy? What do you have to say about him? Because you worked with him at least for a little bit.
Yeah.
And Parker, here's the quotation he sent me. Statement he sent me. Having served in the state house with former Representative Capps and people like him, it's no surprise when the Christian nationalists who most vocally insist on their own moral superiority are in reality the most ethically bankrupt.
Yay! Yay! I love it. It's so fun to hear about people failing when they deserve it.
Right. I'm going to jump to an ad really quick because I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors. Not too long ago, I was trying to get a present for my parents, who are very hard to please. So I got a picture of my kids. I uploaded it at a site called paintyourlife.com. And they basically said they would turn it into a professional hand-painted image of pretty much any size. So I got to pick the artist or have them pick one for me. I had multiple opportunities to see drafts of the final painting and make suggestions for modifications. And I got the final product a couple weeks later. And the look on my mom's face when she saw that painting was awesome. Like, she absolutely loved it. It was a perfect gift. It was personal. It was different than anything else I could have gotten her. And, you know, the site will take any picture you have. And the quality that you get in return was fantastic. And you could get your portrait in as little as 2 weeks. At paintyourlife.com, there's no risk. If you don't love the final painting, your money is refunded, guaranteed. And right now, for a limited time offer, you can get 20% off your painting. So that's right, 20% off and free shipping. To get that special offer, text the word friendly to 64,000. That's friendly to 64,000. Text friendly to 64,000. That's Paint Your Life. Celebrate the moments that matter most. Terms apply. Available at paintyourlife.com/terms. Again, text friendly to 64,000, and we appreciate them sponsoring this podcast. Let me jump to a story that you know how emotional I am.
Oh my God. It's like, it's really stressful, actually, because go ahead.
I have no emotions.
No,
and then I saw this video and I'm like...
It's pathological,
I
frankly.
almost had emotions.
Shut up.
Yeah, because this made me sad. Here's the story here. There's a news station in Oklahoma, KFOR. They run a segment regularly called A Place to Call Home. It's this cute segment. It's a nice segment where they feature kids in the foster system. And they're like, look at these awesome kids. They're fantastic. Someone can have them. Like, please take them in. They're wonderful kids. Look at what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And if you want to adopt a child, if you want to take them in, here's what you can do to make that happen. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen it on like late night shows where they do it with pets, that sort of thing too, right? Like maybe you're not familiar with the system, but look at this awesome kid. How would you not want them? So, of course, these are emotional segments to begin with, because like they don't go into the kids' backstories. They just go into, look at this kid now.
Yeah.
Look at how amazing they are. So one recent segment featured a 16-year-old named Dax, and they said Dax loves chickens, and so they were on a farm, and you see Dax taking care of the different chickens. Dax said uses the words they, them pronouns, so they love school, they're talking about their interests and stuff, and like, my first thought is, how could a family not want to take in Dax, right? And then, here's where it takes a weird little twist.
Uh-oh.
It turns out Dax was taken in by a foster family 7 years ago.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know what happened. They don't go into details here. But Dax had a family for 7 years there, and now is in need of a foster family. So what is going on? And here's from the video on KFOR's website. Dax says they were adopted at one point and lived with a family for 7 years. And now I'm quoting Dax. It was nice, but then they started not loving me anymore for who I was, being LGBTQ.
Dax.
And the article goes on to say, Dax has dreams of finding the perfect family. Probably a same-sex couple or someone who is very understanding of my situation.
Dax.
Oh my God.
Come live with me, Dax.
Right?
Where's Dax?
This is in Oklahoma.
It's so far away.
I don't know the details. You could tell why I'm watching this, and I'm like, you've got to be. Come on. Who's doing this to this child?
Monsters are.
Someone adopted Dax when Dax was 9, cared for them for like 7 years, and then did this. Jeez. And that makes me mad. And we don't learn anything about the family. We don't learn the past. We don't know if religion played a role in this, though I'm going to guess.
And they're in Oklahoma. Roll the dice.
I will say this. I went on Facebook, and I'm trying to check out the news site where they talked about this segment, and here's a comment that made me optimistic. One lady chimed in, commented to say, we are an LGBTQ plus supportive, DHS approved foster adoptive home. We are open for teen placement. We have chickens, in all caps. I would like info if anyone has any. I called the number and left a message. Someone put me in contact with the kids' worker. The news station replies, please contact the reporter for more information on the child's caseworker. And the response is, sent PM, sent a message, right? So I reached out to that woman. I'm like, is this happening? Like, can you tell me anything else? And she did respond to me, and she did say, like, I am meeting with the people who I need to talk to. Obviously, it's a long process. It's not a done deal. They need to meet Dax, and Dax needs to be comfortable with them too. So it's the beginning of the story here. But the fact is, they aired that segment. A woman did reach out to them and say, we would gladly take in this person.
Right.
Like, let's start making it happen. And the ball is rolling. So awesome. But
great.
also, I want to find out details. What the hell did this family do?
Bad.
But I did like that there was a happy ending, kind of, maybe.
I mean, I do have a couple pitchforks in my garage, so if
That's
we need to march down to Oklahoma, oh my God, it's such a long walk.
Let me jump to this story. There was a Catholic preschool teacher. A parent went to the school and beat the shit out of her. And your reaction right now, which is shock, was my reaction too. Like, oh, Jesus, like, what the hell is wrong with this parent, right? And so here's what we know. She was the woman who did the assaulting, was arrested. So we know she's 28. Her name is Casey Marie Brooks. And she basically visited her son's 61-year-old preschool teacher. This is in Grovetown, Georgia, St. Teresa of Avila Catholic Church. They were supposed to discuss some incident that happened in the classroom the previous day. So they were having a scheduled meeting.
Okay.
And there are cameras in the classroom, as many schools have. And on the camera footage, which we have access to now, you can see like it's not a nun, it's just a 61-year-old woman at the school walking into a classroom, and then this younger woman just like runs behind her and starts wailing on her. It's like, oh my God. And you see other people at the school come in, one's like calling 911 or something, another's trying to rip off the woman, like get off of her.
Christ.
It's not a pretty scene. We know, this is from the sheriff's report, then Casey jumped back on her and again started hitting her with her fist as the victim was lying on the floor. Casey also bit the victim's left thumb/palm, leaving visible marks. The witness pulled the parent off the teacher, and the teacher retreated to a class bathroom and locked the door. Brooks left the building saying she would, quote, wait for her mugshot, a report says. Like she knew she was going to get in trouble. And so she's like, yeah, fine, bring the cops on, take my picture, whatever. And the 61-year-old was taken to a hospital. Her face was swollen. The bite marks were visible. Brooks was charged with battery. Okay, so that's the part I saw first. And I'm like, Jesus, what the hell is wrong with certain people? What are they doing? But...
I knew
okay,
there's
you know this is coming.
I want to be clear.
The
I'm
question
not
is,
pro
what-
beating up 61-year-old women, but I'm pro a really juicy story.
Yeah, sure. So here's the story, because according to, I guess, some local website that definitely posts about law enforcement stories, she must have reached them, and she's like, I know you're going to write about this, so let me tell you my side of the story anyway.
Oh my goodness.
And it's the same version that she has now posted on a GoFundMe page for her legal bills, because she has them,
Oh, yeah?
believe it or not. Here's what she says. Basically, the day before, she was watching... I guess a month ago or so, her son came home with, like, a leg injury. And, like, listen, I have kids in school and daycare, like, they get hurt. It happens. But her son suffered a leg injury, and she's like, well, that's a thing kids do. But she's certainly like, I wonder what was happening that this kid got a leg injury, kid of mine. So didn't think much of it at the time. But then she's like, I should watch the camera and see what's happening in the classroom. And it turns out, here's from her GoFundMe page. For 3 hours, the day before, I watched his teacher spank him, hit him in the head, slap him with a book, shove him to the ground, snatch him up by one arm and carry him across the room multiple times, slam him in his seat to make him eat lunch alone in timeout, pick him up by his ankles and hold him on his neck or head, grab his face so hard his cheeks were touching in his mouth as she was nose to nose with him, among other things. And when she informed the director of the school, they basically dismissed her concerns. They defended the actions and ensured that that teacher would be keeping her job. So then they scheduled a meeting the next day. That's when the mother went to town on this teacher.
Whoa. Was this focused on just her kid? Or was this...
As far as I know, it's just her kid.
What the... Can I ask the ethnicities of people involved?
All white.
All white, okay.
As far as I could tell. I should say, she was only able to watch limited footage from one camera when describing these incidents of her kid. And that stuff, the school would not give her more camera angles to look at for some reason. So part of the lawsuit that she is now filing against the school is like, I want to see everything.
Yeah.
The school did not release obviously they're not going to release a woman beating up a kid.
Of course.
They did release a video of the woman beating up the teacher, the parent beating up the teacher, and like it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But also there's more video out there.
Yeah.
It's gonna come out.
And somebody took
Oh,
a
boy.
video on their phone. Like even they delete it. Like somebody's got that shit somewhere.
She told the mother,
Holy shit.
Marie Brooks, she told the local news outlet that she, quote, appreciated the opportunity to see the teacher feel how my 2-year-old son felt when she was standing over him laying helplessly on the ground.
A 2-year-old?
Yeah, and he's nonverbal, by the way, so he can't even communicate his feelings well. By the way, her when I wrote about that a couple days ago, her fundraiser was at $14,000. It is currently at $26,000. People are on her side.
I mean, it's hard not to be.
I should say, I'm reading this for the first time. She just posted an update. Saturday evening last week, we were served paperwork for a hearing that said the defendant, her, was granted bond, no special conditions. Is there anything else here? We were able to attain all of our phone records, proving that I have not contacted her, which she wouldn't do. I'm trying to look at if there's anything else interesting here. The story has blown up far beyond anything I ever imagined or intended, and my inbox has been flooded with messages from parents who have been in similar situations. I want you all to know that even though I may not respond to every message, I hear you, I see you, and we are all asking for change. I didn't think I would be like on the side of the woman going apeshit on a Catholic school teacher, but like if you told me someone was beating up my kids, like, what do you want from me?
Violence is never the answer.
Violence is never the answer, but and we can end it there.
Yeah.
It's disturbing.
Yikes.
Here's one for you. Last year, actually, I'm not going to get the details entirely right on this, but New York State, like many states, has a law where if you've been a victim of sexual assault, you could sue your assailant. But what happens if it happened decades ago and now you're older and you recognize what had happened? Like, remember, people want to sue their like Catholic priest from back in the day. And so some states said, you know what? Because these stories are just coming out now, we want to make sure victims get justice. We're going to create a window of opportunity that goes beyond the statute of limitations. And so for like a 2-year window, if you want to file a lawsuit against your attacker, even though it happened decades ago, you can do it. We're going to create a window for you to do exactly that. And in New York, they even extended it for a little bit because of COVID. So
really?
The window in New York, I believe, closed on August 9th. So it was interesting because there were a few stories coming out in the week leading up to that saying like the window's closing and there's this flood of lawsuits trying to make it under the wire right there, which is like, wow, lots of people they're well aware that this is the last chance they can get to file these lawsuits.
Right.
And so one of the women who filed just before the deadline was a woman who was suing Grace Baptist Church in Lansingburg, New York, basically saying my former youth pastor, Larry Halleck, sexually abused me. And according to the lawsuit, and I should say, these are allegations. This is not a conviction or anything yet. She said Halleck abused the woman on a daily basis before her morning paper routes at church events between 2000 and 2002 when she was between 15 and 17. But here's the thing that really set everything over the edge. According to the Time, Halleck's wife sent the child several letters acknowledging, I guess the child must have complained to a higher up, and the wife said she had informed the leadership of Grace Baptist Church of his involvement. So maybe the wife's on the side here, on the child's side here. But according to the lawsuit, rather than inquire as to why the child was receiving letters from the pastor's wife, the church leadership did nothing. Later, when the abuse came to light, they stated the plaintiff, the child, had, quote, led him on.
Fuck you.
Grace Baptist Church leadership has stated because plaintiff didn't cry for help, she was culpable for the abuse perpetrated upon her. So the 15-year-old girl, the church leaders say, led on the youth pastor. And then, like, she didn't complain about it at the time. So what do you want from us?
Honestly, that I've written a version of that headline for the Friendly Atheist back in the day. I've probably written that headline 4 different times of girl was asking for it, says priest. You know, girl was complicit. Girl was like...
And you would think, like, okay, maybe this pastor she's talking about is the only problem here. I don't know what else was happening. Here's the problem, right? But if you go to the church's website now and look at their current pastor, who's a different guy, who is not involved in the abuse, that guy's name, John Kalidas, he's mocked Me Too. He said the only systemic racism in America is the kind against white, straight males, unquote. Last year, after the George Floyd murder, he conducted an AR-15 giveaway.
Cool.
No
Notes there. Considering George Floyd was not killed with an AR-15, what the fuck are you talking about, sir?
Yeah. Her lawyer, the victim's lawyer, said she would like to send a message to the church members. Do not be intimidated by those who twist the Bible for their own agenda. If you or your loved ones were ever harmed by anyone in the church, reach out. Which is unbelievable. Yeah, for her to be able to do that. By the way, I should add, since New York extended that window and created that time for people to file lawsuits, about 10,000 were filed in that window, which means these are all people, and obviously it's not all the victims. And again, these are only lawsuits, not charges. But like, that's how there are thousands of people who've been sitting and dealing with that trauma for decades, who finally, magically, like, got this, after fighting for it, got this opportunity to, like, do something about it, tangible.
Yeah.
And we'll see how many of those stand up in court and go through but unbelievable.
Hoofa doofa. That's...
One final story for you, and this is just Franklin Graham is evil. Not a news story there.
Just an update. A Franklin Graham evil update.
Yeah. Franklin Graham, the Evangelist, on Labor Day this week, posted a message on Facebook apropos of nothing. It's just him, like, saying Happy Labor Day, but he doesn't ever just stop there because he has to find a way to work Jesus into it.
Obviously.
Which, okay, fine, we know that's his thing.
Well,
so
and Jesus was famously a proponent for the 5-day work week, so it makes sense that he would evoke him on Labor Day.
So this is what he said.
Pro-union Jesus, that's what we call him.
Today on Labor Day, we celebrate the American worker, ... It's all that stuff. Then Graham goes on to say, today, it is troubling to witness the disregard we see for hard work. Almost every business is trying to hire people but can't find enough. So many people no longer want to work. What has happened in just 2 short years?
600,000 people died, bud.
Yeah. And then he acknowledges that later. He says, yes, the coronavirus had a great impact, but political mismanagement has dealt a debilitating blow with things such as repeated stimulus payments and giveaway packages that encourage people not to go to work. Basically, he's saying you're lazy and the government should stop giving you food payments and childcare payments. And
But no, he's talking specifically about the stimulus payments, as if the check for $1,200 that I got in like May 2020 is still keeping me afloat.
Yeah, is that why you're not working your $1,200 check one time last
Jesus
year?
Christ.
Like, I got a few $100 because I have kids.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, well, that's nice. That will help. I'm okay. I know this is helping other people more than it's helping me, but it's like, it's not a reason I'm going to quit anything I do.
Right.
It's like, no one's saying, oh, I got my $1,200 check. I'm rich. I never have to work again. That's not the reason. And obviously, I know everyone listening knows this. There are studies that have come out saying all those Republican states that said, we don't want the federal benefits.
Ooh, they gobbled that shit right up, didn't they?
All those stimulus checks, all the Republican states that are like, nope, we're going to cut them off, even though we could have gotten it for nothing.
Yeah.
We want people to go back to work. And it turns out no one's going back to work more so than in other states because that's not the reason they were out of work. Like, we know that's not the thing. Those checks were helping people unequivocally, and it wasn't preventing them. They're not going back to work, one, because of COVID, two, because they weren't getting paid enough to do the sort of shit they got to do now. And, like, I'm not going back to a shitty job for low pay.
Right.
So, like, you want me to work for you? Make it worth my while. Otherwise, I will find a better thing to do with my life.
Well, and to connect a dot to another story we've done on this very show, I wonder how much that woman was paying that Catholic school to beat the shit out of her 2-year-old.
Yeah,
so,
right.
like, childcare is expensive and turns out really fucking scary sometimes. So, like, maybe just the way that Republicans yell at trees for blooming fruit when they should be yelling at the roots. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't be like, oh, you don't want to go to work because you're lazy or because you have 2 kids at home and they can't raise themselves, and I want to be, and also I bet being there while your kids are children is pretty fun and cool, so you can be a part of that whole thing if you want. Like, just their absolute refusal to understand the reasons for people not wanting to go back to work. Like, I don't know, people getting assaulted on airplanes or being screamed at in bars. Like, yeah, y'all are monsters. Of course nobody wants to go back to work.
And
And also
Franklin
people are
Graham,
working.
of all people, has access to so many monsters. Like,
So
the
many
problem
monsters.
isn't that people don't want to work. It's that they don't want to give up their time and body and life to a company that has no respect for what they do. It's not asking much to say, pay me what I'm worth if you want me to come back to this place.
Do you think Franklin Graham works 40 hours a week at a desk or on his
Franklin
feet
Graham,
somewhere?
who does not, but he has people who write these Facebook posts for
Right.
him where he gets millions of followers in exchanges. He does get paid like more than $750,000 by one of his ministries. And for what? For spreading right-wing propaganda to conservative Christians.
Yeah, I'll take a cheeseburger over that any
People
day.
like gave him credit because he said we should get vaccinated, as if that was like, how could you go against the grain like that by stating the obvious? But at the same time, Franklin
Right.
Graham has opposed max mandates, and like, he says get the vaccine, but he doesn't like vaccine mandates, which ultimately leads to the same problem. He wants you to have the choice to kill people.
Yes.
Like,
Yes,
he's okay with that because he's pro-life.
Honestly, just the contrarian nature of the right is, I simply cannot with them. Like, just everything they do or say is like, how can I make everything that's going on a little bit worse?
The weird thing is his ministry, Samaritan Ministries, which is one of the bigger ones in the country, like, he, of all people, should understand because he talks about it all the time, know the importance of charity work and nonprofit work.
Yeah.
And yet, what is he doing? He's perpetuating a system that will lead to more people needing charity.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
what is this?
You're
Plan to
selling-
keep yourself in business?
Oh, he's giving you the disease so he can sell you the cure. That's
Thank
exactly
you.
what it is.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Just
I hate it when any media outlet gives him positive publicity because his ministry is doing something while not acknowledging the overwhelming amount of horrible things that he does.
Right.
Remember, his ministry is one of those like, no Jews allowed here. You can't work for us if you're a Jew or gay or if you like gay people or whatever. Like, there are rules and restrictions for volunteers with his charity because they won't discriminate against patients who need their help or people.
No.
But like, oh, you want to work with us? Sorry, nope, not you. You're
we
not the
can't give
wrong
you a
flavor of
job.
Christian.
Right. Oh boy.
Like,
It's
that should be
just-
mentioned in every article about him.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
it's
like if you're mentioning a Republican, you're whatever, Meet the Press or whatever,
Right.
you have to acknowledge this is someone who doesn't accept democracy, tried to overturn the election results.
Yeah.
Now let's talk to Lindsey Graham or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Why are you not doing that?
I mean, sometimes those chyrons on CNN or whatever do a little heavy lifting for them. Like, Lindsey Graham says he wants this, voted against that or whatever. But yeah, no, like, I do think context is important. But also, like, I think it's really interesting that people are, so he is angry, from what I can tell, that businesses are hiring and they're having trouble finding people.
Yes.
And he's angry
And he thinks this is because Americans are lazy and you
What's
need Jesus.
unemployment at right now? Isn't it like really low?
Low, or I don't know if it's back to pre-pandemic numbers, but it like the jobs numbers every month keep doing fine.
Right.
COVID is still a problem.
Sure.
The Delta variant is still a problem.
We're still in a pandemic.
If you take care of that, those numbers are going to shoot up. Economy
Right,
does
exactly.
better if that's a thing you care about. Like, okay, it'll be fine. Franklin Graham is not helping by mocking the reasons people are not working right now.
Holy shit.
And he's wrong. That's the issue. What happened now?
No, I mean, nothing happened, but
Oh, okay.
unemployment is really low.
I mean, people
So,
want jobs.
yeah.
They want to go back. They just want to be compensated fairly, which is not a weird thing to ask.
Yeah, the according to ncsl.org, currently the national employment rate is 5.4%, which is really low. And like, I don't know where it, like, you can't and do not want unemployment to get down to zero. So when you're in I think that's really low. God, I haven't done shit like this in a long time, but I'm sure it's low. So like, what that tells me is they're just
people get vaccinated.
People are already working. Well, because so many people left their shitty jobs to find better jobs during the pandemic. Because guess what? Those jobs can really suck because people treat you like absolute garbage. They
There
don't
was a
have to be
super fun
soul
article in the New York Times about all the people working remotely who have 2 full-time jobs. Because, like, why the hell not? You don't know what I'm doing.
Honestly,
if I can pull it off,
what
why
a great
are you stopping
idea.
me? Yes.
What a great idea.
More power to those people.
Oh, I love that. I don't know how they're going to do taxes, but that's their concern and not mine.
I got 2 jobs. That's how I make it work. Whatever.
Genius.
If you're good at what you do, make it work.
That's absolute genius.
Anyway, we're
All
done.
right. Yeah.
Where do we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Jess Blumke. Also, my Etsy shop is up and running again as usual. I know it's September, but the holiday season is going to creep up on you. So if you need gifts, bitches get stitched done on Etsy. Hemant, where can we find you?
I am at Hemant Meta on Twitter. Please go to patreon.com/friendly atheist podcast to support this show.
Oh, go to our shop. When we were at the
have a
meetup,
shop.
when we were at the meetup, I saw one of our T-shirts in person for the first time, and it was very exciting. So go to our shop, check that out. Our Discord, our Facebook group. Email us at friendlyatheistpodcast@gmail.com if you have questions or concerns. Leave us a review, and is that it?
I think that's it. We'll see you next week.
All right.